Okay, can you see my screen?
Yeah, I can see.
Okay. All right. So we are going to, like I said, we are going to treat Python. Did I install Visual Studio Code for you?
Just video code. So, like I have it. I see I can have it.
Okay, confirm
Yeah,
if
I
you
can see it. But
do you have it? Do you have it?
yes, I have it.
Okay. Okay. So if you have the Visual Studio Code, let's use Visual Studio Code then.
Okay.
So just quickly launch the Visual Studio Code. Alright. Have you been able to launch it?
Yeah. Yes. Okay.
Alright. So when you launch it, try to create a new file. When you click on new file, it will show you the type of file. It will ask for an option. You see maybe Jupyter Notebook, Python, or or some other options depending on what you have. So I
Okay.
clicked on Python and I have a new file opened.
Okay.
Yes. So let me put this by the side because this is going to be our guide for the class.
New file. New text file.
Have you created a new file?
Yeah.
Okay.
I've opened a new file.
Alright, so we are looking at Python today. Did it ask you for the options? Did it ask you the kind of file you want to open?
Yeah. It says select a language
Okay, what did
or
you
fill with a
select?
template.
What
I
did you
not select
select?
language.
Okay, you would have selected
I
Python.
not okay.
Yes.
Not okay.
So we'll look at, let me quickly start. We are going to look at the basics. We are going to look at
Okay.
the basics.
Okay.
Yes, my screen now I'm showing two tabs. Can you see one tab where you have basic syntax? Can you see
Yes.
something? Then another empty file I opened in Visual Studio Code. So we want to look
Yeah.
at we want to look at basic syntax of Python. Those are the
Okay.
basic concepts that you always use in Python. And I mentioned it, we're already using it. The first thing that I will introduce to you, can you see this hash symbol? Can you see this hash symbol?
Yes. Basic syntax. Yeah.
Yes, that hash symbol is called the comment.
Okay.
Yes, comments help to make our code readable. That means it is more of use to us than the computer. The computer does not execute the comments when it let's say you have a file now, you are done writing a program and you want to run it.
Okay.
So when running it now, the interpreter does not execute the comments. The moment it sees this hash symbol now, it does not do anything. It assumes that it should just skip it. Like it looks at it
Okay.
as something that is not so important. So that means,
Okay.
so that is the first thing we are introducing, which is called comments. Okay, that is comments.
Okay.
And we have two
Comment.
types of comments.
Okay.
We have two types of comments. One is the inline comments, which I just used now. And then if you want to have your comments spread across several lines, you can use a multi-line comment, which I just used now. Can you see it? You have a triple quotation mark. So anything you want to write now,
Okay. Quotation mark.
yes, anything you want to write now, you can easily write it between the quotation marks. Say, this is me trying out a multi-line comment. So if you should try to run this, for example, you will see that nothing will happen. It will not give you an output. So which is also another thing in programming. When we are done, we normally run our programs. Let's save. Let's rename our file. You can give it a name.
Okay. Mm.
Oh, I was actually look at this is what I was looking for here. The run. Can you see this here?
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, but have you tried it from your end? I think my Visual Studio Code is still trying to reactivate the terminal as I was using it before we started the call. So that's why I have this little. So on your end, have you tried to run it?
Let me see. I can't see the wrong button.
It gives you nothing, right?
Okay.
The reason, sorry, did you say that it gives you nothing?
Yeah.
What do you get? What's the output after running it?
See the run button here on my screen.
Is that?
The run. Okay. Then it says run and debug. Is it that one?
You don't necessarily have to debug. Can you see my cursor?
Do I have to save it?
Yes, you can save it. You should save it. You can then choose to rename it too.
Oh, and I have to connect the hotspot. Huh? This hotspot.
No, you don't need to connect your hotspot to use the Visual Studio Code. Okay,
Okay.
okay. But you need it for this call now. I believe the call is on the system, right? That you are connected.
Oh no. Because this one it cannot connect to this network. This is even. I don't know
But no problem. The call now. Did you join the call with your phone or your system?
why. Yes, it's my phone.
Okay, with your phone.
Yeah.
Joining with the system would have helped so that you can see you have a better experience on a large
That's what I
screen.
understand.
So and you cannot connect to your hotspot.
Yes, trying the hotspot. Okay. Okay, now.
Is it connected now?
Okay. Maybe I don't have to find the system. Oh, troubleshoot it.
Mm, but okay, let's just continue. Let's continue. Let's use your phone for now and see if it will serve.
Okay.
Mm. So I just want you to get an idea of a comment that when you run it, it will not give you any output. Or you can click on the run or debug.
Okay.
Uh,
You don't have an extension for the Belgian Python. Will
okay,
you find a Python extension
okay.
in the marketplace?
Well, aside the run or debug, can you see any other option there, like just to run? Can you see my screen where you have this play
I
button
see
here?
that.
Play button.
Yes, I can still see me. Yeah.
And when you click on the play button, what is it showing you?
I have to update the.
Okay, you know what will happen? Let's use you if your Visual Studio Code is not giving optimal experience, you can switch to the Python ideally. So just type ID,
Okay.
type on your Windows search bar. You can type ideally.
Ideally.
Yes.
Ideally.
Do you what is it showing you? Hmm?
Ideally. Sure. Ideally, right?
Yeah, just ideally. When you type it, what's the result?
It's open a page Python 3.1.
So
One page.
run as administrator. You can run as administrator.
Okay, I'm not sorry. Let's just have IBM administration. Yeah.
Are you there?
Okay, I mean, yes,
Okay,
sir.
so you can now just go to the file, then click new file.
Okay.
Mm. So this is what you have. This is what will pop up.
Okay.
Are you there?
Yes, I'm there.
So you can try the same thing now that I said. Just type comments where I told you. Then after you do that, you can now run it and see what is going to show you.
Okay.
So we know I
Okay.
showed you the single line comments, then I also showed you the multi-line comments. So let me just redo the example. I can just come and copy it. Let me copy it since I already have something like that. So try and run it and tell me what your output is.
Okay.
So you can say when you run it, have you run it?
Run mode.
Okay, what's the prompt
Run
now?
mode.
What's the prompt on your side? Or what's the output rather?
Now I should save it.
Yes, you have to save it. So you save it, give it a name. You can just call it basic syntax, since that's what you are treating.
Okay. 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 Restart.
The record screen.
Okay. Do not show anything. You just restart.
So the reason is because just like I told you, comments. I told you comments now. You are not really doing anything. You just use it to make
Oh,
your code readable. Maybe when you're writing a program, you want to explain your steps. So you attach
oh,
comments. You use comments so that someone that's using your code, reusing your code, or when you are revisiting it, you can just read it to understand what the program is about. So that's why you don't have any
okay.
output. Do you understand? That's why it's called. That's why
Yeah.
it's called a comment. A
Okay.
comment, yes, that's why it's called the comment. It's just like when they say, for example, exam now. As a lecturer,
Mm.
you tell someone to comment on something.
Something. Okay.
That means you want the person to maybe explain, right?
Mm.
Maybe you say
Yeah.
comment on the types of microprocessors.
Mm.
So you want him to talk about the microprocessors. That's the microprocessors that you have. Maybe give a little explanation. So in the same
Yeah.
vein here in programming, when you add comments, you are trying to explain your code. For example, now let's do something. Let's progress. As I give more examples, you understand.
Okay.
You understand as I give more examples. So let's run your first program now. We want to look at the print statement. We want to look at print statements. Okay. All right. So now let's do this. Let's print. Let's print something. You can say this is my first. This is my first program. So you can write anything you want. So what does the print does? What does it do? Just like you say print now. You go to printing press to print out something.
Okay.
When you print out something, what does it do for you? For example, if you have soft copy and you print it out, you have it out in the hard copy, abi?
You don't know.
Abi?
Yes, we have the hard copy.
So this one too, we use the print to display it. To display,
Okay.
yes, we use it for to display or output it on our screen or on the shell. Look at here.
Okay.
Let's try and run this program now. See, try and run it and
Okay.
let's see what you have.
This is my first program. So, run. Invalid.
Hmm?
It is invalid syntax. Maybe I forgot something. It says.
Okay. Do you have your brackets enclosed? This is my
Yes,
first
I have the
program. Is it
bracket.
within the brackets?
Yes, yes,
And your quotation mark too. Did you open and close it too?
yes.
Okay. After you type the print before the brackets, did you put a space?
No.
Okay. And the P, is it small letter P, lowercase?
So, okay, it's just highlighting the first quotation mark.
Eh?
I said it's highlighting the first quotation mark.
The third quotation mark?
First one, first one.
The first one.
Okay. Let me try the quotation mark again.
Okay.
Okay. Let me run.
Did it work?
Yes, this is my first program.
Yes. So this is actually your first program. So welcome to
Okay.
programming. One thing that you have to be
Let me
used
put
to
that.
is bugs. You should get used to
Okay.
bugs. You will definitely have bugs every time where your program is not running according to your expectation. Sometimes it might not run at all. Sometimes it might not run
Okay.
at all. Sometimes it may not run according to your expectation. Yes. So now what do you see now after it has run? What do you see on your shell? What did it show?
Just so that the start. Then this is my first
This is
program.
my first
Yes.
program. So you see it now. I
Yes.
believe with that you understand what the print statement does.
Yes.
Hmm?
So it's not include the page and the quotation mark.
No, it does not include the quotation mark. Now this quotation mark now,
Mm.
is used to tell your interpreter that what you are writing is a string. Okay?
Okay.
Yes, we have different data types in Python. We'll talk about that as we go on. But since we are printing, definitely we'll have to do a light introduction to data types. So whenever
Okay.
you see some piece of text within quotation mark, just know that you are dealing with
Mm.
string.
String. Okay.
Yes, you can have string, you can have integers, you can have floats. Floating point numbers, where that's when you have decimal.
Okay.
Yes. Then string, most times when you have a sequence of characters, they can be alphabets, they can be symbols, they can even be numbers too. So when you want to
Okay.
write something like this now, you have to enclose it within what? A quotation mark. It can be a double quotation mark or single quotation mark. However, just ensure it is consistent. So that means if you
Okay.
use double quotation mark and I close it with
Mm.
a single quotation mark, let me try and run it. I've never tried this, surprisingly. So can you see what is saying? Unterminated string literal
Mm.
dictated at line 11. Another thing you should be used to, another thing you should get used to is
Mm.
reading your error logs. Programmers actually run
Okay.
away from it, but it actually gives you an idea of where you've gone, where your program has gone wrong. So it says unterminated
Okay.
string literal detected at line 11. A literal is basically a value. So it's telling you that your string value is unterminated, meaning you opened it but you didn't close it. Detected at line 11. So at line 11, another thing that we should do that will also help us is if we attach line numbers so that we can easily know. Yes. So go to your options, go to options, then click show
Okay.
line numbers. Have you done that?
Okay. Yes. It's
Mm-hmm.
showing yes.
Mm-hmm. So so now you see it told me unterminated string literal because I was not consistent with my use of quotation marks. I started with double and ended with single.
Okay.
Yes, so if I'm using single, I have to ensure that I start with a single quotation mark. So this is my first program. So running it, so you can see this is my first program. So now I was trying to explain something about comments. Just like I said, when
Okay.
I gave you that example where I said in an exam, as a student, comment on the different types of microprocessors. That means
Yes.
you want them to maybe give a little explanation on the different
Yes.
types of microprocessors to explain.
Mm.
The keyword there is explain. So that is the same thing here. You see this statement, this print statement we wrote here.
Mm.
So can you see that we actually explain what is happening in line 10, right?
Yes.
We said
So,
uh, are you with me?
yes. So print. This print
Mm,
statement, right?
yes. It's like an explanation or introduction to what we did in line 10. Have you?
Um, yes.
So someone that sees it now can say, okay, so that means this person is trying to showcase prints, the print statement. So you can decide to even make it more detailed by say, okay, this is an example. You can say this is an example of print statement.
Statement.
So you can see what are we trying to do? We are just trying to explain this line of code.
Yeah.
So that's comments.
Correct. 9 and 10. Not sure. When we run the test.
You said?
I said this 9 and 10 will not even show because we have 6 points and then has comment.
I didn't hear you.
Hello, I said this has print statement. Has this is an example of print statement. They are just like comments. They are not showing the way.
Yes, they will not show. That's one thing we need to
They have
understand about it. It will not show.
just see the
Mm. You are just using it. Look at this. You are using it as a form of explanation because you agree with me that our mind is volatile. You can easily forget. So it's possible
yeah.
when you come back to if you revisit your code maybe months later after you're done with this program and you want to come and revise, you might forget some of these
Mm,
things and you'll be like,
yeah.
what was I trying to achieve here? So, but
Okay.
with these comments now, you have explained what you were doing. So look at also this
Okay.
explanation I put here. He said what? I says Python will let you write notes to yourself and to the other coders checking out your code. Python won't run this at all or even notice it. And you can see it. So comments also, we write comment because other people will use your program too. Just like I open a GitHub account for you and I'll also show you with time how to use your GitHub account. So when people are looking at your code, on GitHub, you if you don't include comments, they will find it difficult to read it.
Okay.
Because most times as programmers we read programs more than we write. So if you are reading someone's code
Okay.
and he doesn't make it self-explanatory, you might most likely out of frustration just dump the code and look for another one
Jump up.
that looks explanatory.
Okay.
So that's it about comments. So
Mm.
yes, so the next thing, let's look at other examples of print. Let's try to print a number. So let's see what we have. So I want you to try this print 9. Say let's have this. Let's have this. Let's have this. So I want you to, after typing this, I want you to run it and then tell me what you observe.
Okay. Okay. This is my first program. Then 9. Then there's another 9. Then 4 plus 4. Then there's 8.
So you observe that line 16, the line 16 where you have 4 plus 4 in a quotation mark, it didn't print out 8. It printed out 4 plus 4. But the other last one, which is at line 17 now, it's evaluated to 8.
8. Okay.
That's because you see this one here, the one on line 16 is a string because you put it in quotation mark. So Python will not look at it as a number. It's you now that is a human being that is seeing a number. So but because you put it in quotation mark, Python looks at it as a string. It will not add it up.
Okay.
But this one now, you see this last line here, line 17, I did not put it in quotation mark, so which means that is an integer. So an integers, you see we've put an arithmetic operator here plus, so automatically I don't need to tell them add it out before printing. It will just do the addition, and what is going to print out is the sum.
Okay.
I don't know if you understand.
Yeah, I understand.
Okay.
Yes.
So you can also, let's say now, so what did we just do here now? We looked at some further examples. Right? Printing integers.
So you can decide to let's say you want to print uh you are trying to output something to the screen, and you want it to have you want them to appear on separate lines, more than one line. There's a way you can go about it. Let's say hello.
Okay, I'm speaking.
Let's say I do something like this: hello, how are you
Okay.
doing? So let's say I want this. When I run this, you see that it is the hello, how are you doing is on one line. But what if I want it to be on this, how are you doing, to be on a new line.
Okay.
So you can now use the new line um the new line character. I think this is how to.
Mhm.
Okay, I'm coming.
Okay.
I didn't put it well.
Should I run it?
Wait. First, I think I'm not getting something.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I got the slash the wrong way. So let's try it.
Okay.
Alright, so you can try it on your end.
Okay. Okay. Um, mhm. Okay.
What do you notice?
Hello, how is it? Yes, in full line.
So the how are you doing? You see, it's on a new line, Abby.
On the new line.
Okay. So that's the new line character in Python.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. Another thing is, let me show you something. See,
Okay.
so what did we do now? A good practice is to always use comments to explain what you are doing. It appears um, counterproductive, in that you might feel you are wasting your time but when you revisit your code, that's when you appreciate what you did. So here we are trying to printing new line, printing using this new line character. So make it is good that while you learn it, you make it practice, that at least every line of code you write on, or a snippet of code you write, try to write a comment, attach comments to it. It
Okay.
helps. Okay,
Okay.
so I wanted us to do something. Now let's assume I use my tab
Let
and I do something like this, print, and I want to print this same thing here. Let's see what we have. Can you see the error it throws up?
no. Okay. Unexpected. Kingdom.
Indents.
Okay.
So Python takes note of the indents. So you see here, you can see what happened. The reason why it's throwing up an error because I tabbed first before I started typing. So I just wanted to use it to prove a point that you should have to pay attention to the indent and even spacing too. It matters.
Okay.
It matters. It's very important.
Okay. Sorry.
So if
Finish up.
okay, you're trying it out, ba? Okay, if I just put one space, say I space it before I see I still have the same error, unexpected indent. So we have to ensure that so there's something called scope in programming. Scope, which I will explain in subsequent classes. So but Python uses indents to recognize different level of scopes.
Okay.
Yes, it uses indentation. While in some programming languages they use brackets for their scope. Just keep that as an aside. I just said that to explain why we have this. As we use it much more, you understand. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So let's move on. So far, you understand what we have done so far, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So please, while I'm explaining and there's something you don't understand, you can call my attention.
Okay.
So let's look at this unique case here. Let's say you're trying to print out, what if your string has quotation mark inside, like this example here. So let's say want to, like I said, have that good practice of explaining. Let's say want to printing a string that has what, say that string that has quotation marks. So let's do something like this. So look at what I have here. Can you see what I have here? You say print. Can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Can you see this line?
Yes. Yeah,
It says it's really
I
up
see.
to you. This it's is having quotation mark. Can you see it?
I can see.
So let's run it and see what we have.
It's really up to you.
See, the quotation mark came out. That's this one here. The quotation mark in it showed. So, but let's look at a different case. Let's assume, here I use double quotation mark to enclose my string, and
Yeah,
I told you can use either double quotation or single quotation. So let me use single
yeah.
quotation. Let me use single quotation and see if the code will run. So you see what we have. Can you see? It refused to run.
Yes,
It says what? Invalid syntax. Can you see it?
yes, I can see.
So, so that means when you have something like that, a single quotation mark inside your string, it's best practice to use double quotation mark to enclose your string so that your code will
Okay.
be able to run. Do you understand? Let me change it back to double quotation mark. You see that it will run. Let's run it. So it has run now. You can see it. It ran successfully. The moment we reverted back to double quotation mark, it ran.
Yeah, my,
You want to try it on your end?
invalid,
You
invalid
can try it.
syntax.
Okay, your own is showing invalid syntax. What did you use? What did you use to? What did you use for your string to enclose your string? Did you use single quotation mark or double quotation mark?
Okay, let me see something. I think that is good. Yes, that is good. What to active. Let me run it again.
Okay.
Syntax again. Oh, uh, not the hash here. Hello?
Have you been able to run it successfully?
All this code, this code use with and with this has to like edit them well, right? I shouldn't leave them video.
You said what is he showing?
Now it's showing it's really up to you, but generally speaking, we want to make sure that it's available as possible. It's showing that it's at the show.
Okay.
I was able to correct it. The problem was this line that we use tab tab print. I did not clean it.
Okay, you didn't clean it. Okay.
That's the new number.
Okay, but you've corrected it now.
Yes,
Okay, that's good.
so,
So we've been able to deal with a case where you have single quotation mark. So I'm going to
yeah.
give you an assignment. Go and check what to do when you have a double quotation mark inside your string.
Okay, maybe someone quoting something.
You understand the assignment?
I understand.
Okay, so just check what
Like
when you have, assuming in this it's now this
the
what we have
picture.
here is not single quotation mark, it's double quotation mark. How are we going to go about it?
Yeah. Okay.
So it's an assignment for you to go and check.
Okay.
All right. So I believe with this you have fundamental knowledge of prints
And
and
terminated print is expected at
and
11.
oh no, that one is you will you have to try that out later. Maybe after the class, you take your time
Okay.
to find out what to do. So we this is not an exhaustive introduction to print. There's so much you can do with print. There's so much you can do with
Okay.
print. Yes, I just gave you some few examples, and then possibly with the assignments now, I will give you assignments that will make you to utilize much more functionalities in print with print statements.
Okay.
Yes, but majorly this is how you use your print statement. So now let us look at data types. You know, earlier on when I introduced print statement, I when you asked me about that quotation mark, why we have quotation mark and why it was not showing when you print. You remember the question when you asked? You remember when you asked, right? Yes. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay, so when you asked and I had to now explain, do a light introduction to data types. So we have different data types. Okay. So I'm going to do something now. Let me save
Okay.
this. Let me save this. Okay. And let me open a new file. So I can close this now.
Okay.
So it's good to modularize your code where you don't do everything in one file. We are done with basic syntax now. We're looking at data types. So I can save this. Let me call this let's call this I can decide to call this. Now we're looking at what data types. Data types. Okay. So there are different data types. You have integer,
Okay.
you have floats, different data types.
Okay.
Hmm?
Okay.
Data types.
Integer and what?
You have integer. Let me write it in full. Integer. You have floats.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
You have boolean. Boolean data type. And you have the string. You remember? So your integers are whole numbers. For example,
Yeah.
say you have something like this now. Examples of integers now. Examples of integers now. You can say you have what? 3, right? 4. Well, if you have something like this now, 4.5, is 4.5 an integer?
No.
Okay, 4.5 is not an integer. 4.5 is a float. So 4.5 is not an integer. So this is in Python now. This is how we see this is how the data types are referenced. Integer is known as int for short, int. While
Okay.
float is still float. That sounds funny. Float is still float. While boolean is now for short, we write bool. While string now, string is str.
Okay.
So I gave you example of integers. So if I should ask you now, can you give me some examples of floats?
like the 4.5 you
Okay, the
mentioned.
4.5 I gave earlier on. Alright, that's good. What of Boolean now?
Oh, um, maybe something with unknown number.
Boolean is just like the same thing under digital electronics, where
You do false to the polar.
Boolean. When we talk about Boolean now, is either true or false.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's the same thing here. Any expression that varies to true or false is under Boolean.
Okay.
So Boolean values is either true or example of we have true, we have false. That's Boolean. So, but what of strings now? What of string now? I think we've used strings earlier on. So the important thing about strings is that they are enclosed in a quotation mark. So if I say here now, this is a string. What if I write something like this? Is this a string?
Yeah,
Why this is a string?
it's not included in the bracket.
Sir?
Yes, we include it into the quotation mark,
Okay. So
but it's not inside a bracket.
no, it doesn't have to be in a bracket. So the major thing, when you put it in a bracket, is for example, where maybe we want to print it out. We ensure that it is in a bracket. So, but the important thing to know about strings is that you strings are enclosed in quotation mark.
Okay.
That's the important thing to note about strings. Okay.
Okay, sir.
So let's go further. See if we can finish with data types. Alright. So when we let's say further examples. When we did this earlier on, something like this. Say 5 plus 2. You know what this will give us?
Yes, you can keep it and do a service.
By the time we run it, what will be the output?
It's 7, right?
7, yes. It will give you 7, correct. So say we have 5 minus 3. What does it give you? It gives us 2, right?
Yeah.
So when you want to, I just did something now to show you another functionality of print, or another, I can call it functionality. You see, I wanted to print out 2 things. I used comma to separate them. Did you notice?
Comma, yes.
Yeah. And when we run the program, you can see the way, you can see what we have here. Let me run it again. You can see we have 7, we have 2. You can see it. So when you want to print out several values, you can use comma. Comma is a way to separate it too. So you can do that for as much as you can do that as much as you want to. Say you want to do 5 times 5. So you want to do 5 times 5. You see, I use comma to separate it. So this same thing. So now I would I think I've given an example of floats. But let's do something similar with floats and see what we have. Let's say we want to do 5.4 plus 2.1. it, you see that
Okay.
the same thing. What's wrong?
Okay. Okay. Yes.
So you can see it gives me my result. Come on.
Okay.
Come on. Alright, so let's continue. So the same thing too, if I should attach a comma, the same way, let's say I want to print out multiple values and attach a comma. Say I say 5.7 times 5.2. You see that you can try it on your end too. You see it just the same way. The values, you see them, they're all printed out. Did you try it out?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So, all right. I talked about Boolean values. I said evaluate to true or false. So this is an example of, this is a Boolean expression. See what I do here now? 5 greater than 4. What do you think? Let me ask you a question. What do you think this will print out? Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I said now if I,
5 greater than 4.
what do you think it will print out when we run this program? Hello, are you there? Are you there?
Hello? Are you back?
Hello,
Yes, I
can you
can
hear
hear
me?
you.
Sorry, it's a call that came
Okay,
through.
sir. No
Sorry.
problem. So I was saying this print 5 greater than 4 now. What do you think would be the output?
Is it true, right?
Hmm?
Yeah.
Yes, it will be.
Will you show
Yes, it will be true.
true?
So that's an example of Boolean
Okay.
expression because it will evaluate to true 5 greater than 4. So now, you, thank God, because of your engineering background, you already know comparison operators greater than, less than, greater than or equal to, less than or equal to. So let's just play
Yeah.
around. Let's play around with them. Let's play around with them. Say you have 5 greater than. What if I have something like this? 5 greater than or equals to 4. What will be the output?
Could be like
Hmm?
four. Four.
False. Alright, let's check. You can always run to check if we are correct. It's true.
Okay. Okay.
It's true.
Mm.
Yes. No, it's greater than or equal to. So it will check either of these two conditions if it satisfies any of them. 5, yes. So
Okay.
5 is greater than 4 now. So that passes the test.
Yeah.
Okay. What if we
Okay.
have something like this? This 5 equals to 4.
No, this is four.
This is false, right?
Yeah.
Okay. What if we have something like this?
Which one?
Did you notice what I did? I removed one of the equal to sign.
Like you.
So I say what will
One
be
of
the
them.
result?
This is going to be perfect.
Okay. So we leads us to another thing. In Python we have assignment operator and then comparison. This equal to double equal to sign is used to compare. When you use this, the interpreter knows that you are trying to compare these two numbers to know if they are equal. But if you use just a single equal to, it will assume you want to you want to assign. It's just like a mass. If you say x equals to 2, you want to assign 2 to x. I don't know if you understand. So let's see what this is going to give us.
It's not. Saying your expression cannot contain assignment.
You see, ba? Expression cannot contain assignment because you cannot assign a number to another number. When you are assigning, you must be assigning
Yes.
it must be variables now, right? You must be assigning a value to a variable. So this does not work. So that means this will not evaluate. It's not going to run successfully. So I just wanted to bring that in. Okay. What if you have something like this? Have something like this. What's it going to give you?
Let me check. Is this factorial?
Yes, this sign is used for, look at it here, not equal to.
Okay, not equal to. Yeah, this is
Okay,
true.
that's true. So we are clear with comparison operators. We are clear with
Yeah.
comparison operators. So we can now, you know, this place here where I printed this line here, initially I showed line numbers. I didn't do that since I opened this line here where line 11, where we said print 5 plus 2, it showed us 7, right?
Yes,
What
7.
if we try to do something similar now to strings? Let's try to see if we can add strings. So maybe we say print, let's say we want to print high, sorry, plus high there. Let's see what it's going to give us. Can you see what we have? Do you see what happened?
Yes, true. Yes, true. Okay, hi there.
Do you
Hi
see
there.
what happened?
Now what?
It joined the two words, right? It's called concatenation. It joined the two strings.
Okay.
Yes. So that is how plus works for strings. When you try to add two strings, it will just concatenate them, to add them together, combine them. So if you want to, you can add space such that to format it how you want to. Well, okay, what if we try to add strings to number now? What if let's say we have something like this, add strings to a number. Let's say I do something like this, print high plus maybe 5. Let's see what we have. You see, can you see this error? What do you see?
Error. Can only
Concatenate
concatenate
string
string,
to string.
not integers to
So
string.
you see, it's telling you that you
Okay.
cannot concatenate integer to string. You can only concatenate string to
Hmm.
string. So I just said to
String to string.
show you that how this thing works, addition works. So we'll stop here for this class. So
Okay.
we've reviewed let's just do a little review of what we covered so far. We look at basic syntax, print statements, comments, integers, that's the data types, integers, float, boolean, string, and we look at comparison operators. So do you
Okay.
have any questions so far?
Let me start from the end. This print high that we use string plus integer. When I put the integer in quotation mark, it printed high
Yes,
5.
the reason is because I told you when, or can you explain why?
Yeah, because of the
Yes,
quotation,
yes,
right?
because the moment you put it in quotation, you are the one that is seeing it as a number, but when you put it as a quotation, the computer is seeing it as a string, so it will
concatenate.
as a
Yeah,
string,
to
yes.
concatenate.
Just you just print whatever you just
Yes,
give it there.
yes.
Just like the computation, if I don't want it to
Mm.
compute, I will not put the quotation mark.
If you don't want it to compute, you put it
Like
in quote.
like 3 plus 2.
Sir?
Like 3 plus 2, if I put
Yeah.
it like quotation mark three plus
Yes.
two,
If you print it,
it will come out
yes,
as
it will
three
come out
plus
as
two,
three
not
plus two.
5.
Yes, 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 yes. You are very correct. So you can see that.
Okay. No. Okay. Now, whenever I do the print, it open it in a new background in this ideally shell.
What do you mean?
Hello,
What do you
sir.
mean?
I said this page that I usually print, can I like use it for the coding as well?
Okay,
Or I
no,
have to be going
no,
back
no, 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 no.
to my new
No.
file?
That's the way Python ideally works. That's why I wanted us to use Visual Studio at first. So, but before next class, I'll set up your Visual Studio so that you will not have to be going back and forth. Yes.
Okay, okay.
So I guess that's it, but
All right. That's
all right.
awesome.
So
Yes, that's it.
so call it a day. I'll send you the your
Mm.
assignments too that you work on. All right.
Okay. All right. Thank you, sir. All right. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.